Okay, so at some point we'll want to do a little file management. I did not save this, and because I'm missing or cutting a little bit off of my title, don't quite see it. There we go. So this is the current part 1. It's going to increment as we go until we name it. The little asterisk is telling me that it hasn't been saved, so I'm going to hit the save button, and it's going to default to the last location. And I want to go to my external drive, and I created a track 2 extended for the parts. As we go into the assemblies, we'll want to accumulate just those items. So this is going to be figure 6.55, and then we can save it. So I can leave this open depending on resources in your computer and any issues. It's probably going to be better to close. I only try to keep a minimal number of files open. We mentioned the File Explorer and open in Solidworks, so right now nothing is open in Solidworks. Sometimes this will be related to an assembly and it will be grayed out, or if it was open we'd see it in the mix. So we'll look for that example again, and then new part so that we're in the same grouping. Notice that our dimensions should have stayed in the 2 decimal because that's the default for this template. Alright, so my next strategy is to use contours and regions. So if I go into the top plane, and we'll do these pretty consistent, we'll go into the sketch, and so with this method I'm pretty much going to draw all of the view as if I was looking down on this part from the top. So rectangle, couple of lines, couple more lines, the outside shape. I can take advantage of all of those items in this sketch and generate that geometry. So I'm going to follow the same kind of steps. Select, control, select the origin to the line. We'll make the midpoint. And I can apply the dimension. So this was the 2" 400 and 1" 120. And it's up to you if you want to dimension as you go or add a few and then go. I would say add a few dimensions along the way though, because it is going to get fairly complex pretty quick. And I know I'm going to use that center line, my choice for symmetry. So we'll pull that a little ways. So in this case, since I didn't mirror or make these symmetrical, I have a couple more choices to make. I can go select the point, control select the opposite point, and then control select the center line, and that will give me symmetry. If I go to the lines, then those will add symmetry. And so whichever way I go, I just want to select like items. So point and point or line and line, and get those get that geometry in there. Alright, so the depth was 400, and then we'll draw the line. And so if I make that select and then control select the center line, then I can mirror the entities, apply the dimension, and so this was the 1". Alright, so I know I went through that a little bit faster. I want to generate this this sketch. Really the kind of the expectation is that track 2 is going to be a little bit higher skill set. So if you need to watch it again. I'll try not to get too carried away on the speed. So drew my angles and shapes, 4" 700 for the overall length, and then we can mirror this out. Alright, so I did a select, held down the control button, select, and mirror entities. I could have just as easily done the right button, hold down, left button, hold down, I'm still in the line, got ahead of myself there, left button, hold down, drag from right to left and pick everything that's crossing the window, and then that would have been the mirror. Alright, so smart dimension, 60 degrees. Have the line, and I'm watching out for those midpoints. Every time one of those little boxes pops up, I have to decide if I want to select it or stay away from it. So as we're going through that process and you're dragging around, you're going to see that little flicker of midpoint. As we come a little closer, we'll see the midpoint. Sometimes you'll see centers or quadrants of arcs, and that'll give you different geometries to work with on your relations. All right, so one of the most challenging is the relations, and we're just kind of introducing them as we go. Coincident, horizontal, vertical should be the ones that you're committing to memory right now. And I have enough geometry to start building my features. So the extrude boss base, if I pick, so let's get a little explanation of the contours and regions. Because this sketch contains almost all of the geometry that we're going to need, lines cross over and it creates individual regions, and the contours are things that we would select in on our geometry. If it doesn't complete all the way around, then it's going to have to be contours, or sorry, going to have to be regions. If it selects all the way, like in the case of the rectangle, that's going to be a contour. All right, so we'll work this out as we go. We have the 1" 900 for our height. Now I'm also going to share sketches. Since that sketch has all of the geometry in it, I expand out the little arrow next to the feature, highlight the sketch, and when I go into my next feature, in this case the extrude cut, now I'm looking for those regions. So since that doesn't complete all the way around into a rectangle, then we're going to go back and select the two little rectangles, flip the side, the direction of the cut, and then give it the through all in condition. So we're pretty much always working from the bottom this time. All right, where it can get a little strange is this next rectangle, following pretty much the same process that I did in the previous video. This little rectangle, I got to do something with that sketch. So I'm going to extrude cut. I'm going to pick the two pieces of geometry in those squares as regions. Right, because again, if I pick on the lines, they don't make a complete continuous contour. If I set my pencil down, I'm not going to be able to drag all the way around. It's going to be a segment, and a segment. All right, so we reverse the direction, and this is where the from and to comes in. So as we go down, we're not going to do a whole lot of from, but if I offset this, or I change the sketch location to from the top of the part, then I can reverse the direction, and we're still going to do the blind in condition, and this is going to be 400 deep. Alright, so I'm taking this sketch, I'm moving it to the top of the part, and then I'm making sure the direction of the cut is into the part so that we can remove that material. And we'll hit OK. One more sketch, and we're going to extrude again. So again, if I highlight, I don't see this as a continuous line. It doesn't close, so it cannot be a contour. We're going to have to select for the regions, and I want to make sure that I get all of the regions that I need to create the shape. So this is going to go to 1" 120. Right, and then same thing with the cut on the tip. Region. I think I want to do, since my dimension is in that direction, we're going to do the from surface again. I could offset a dimension, but again, I want to build in that logic that if this changes height, it sees that face, not a hard dimension that's been included in the number, or included in the feature. So we'll go to 440 deep, and that gives me the cut. So the only thing I didn't include in the sketch was the circle, and so that comes in. We'll add some dimensions, 500, 1.38, and notice that even though I'm picking what would be this edge out here, because it can project into the plane, it's still going to make a valid dimension. Okay, so if I can pick it easily, I'll probably pick something related to the sketch or on the sketch plane, but if not, then that for the 0.560 dimension, that edge is just as valid as that edge. That one may not be as desirable, but it could be usable since it projects as a straight line in the plane. Features extrude through all. We go ahead and accept our sketch. Alright, so a couple of the things that we mentioned is that we are doing inch, pounds, and seconds. And if I go to the document units, this is where we're setting for 2 decimal places. And then in millimeters, right now, millimeters should actually be 2 decimal places, and inches should be 3, just so we have that rounding, but we'll leave it for now. I'm sure we'll encounter a millimeter soon enough. The other one is the drafting standard is set to ISO. I like the ISO for some of the more complicated sketches. If you want to switch back to ANSI, you click on the pull down, bring it down, select ANSI. Anything that we change is going to update into the part. If we want it to be consistent across all of our parts, that's where we're going to make the template. So let's go ahead and save that. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and select, but I don't want to overwrite it. So we just click in and we'll do contours and regions on that one.